Ever wondered about the last battle led by Prophet Muhammad? Well, that's the Battle of Hunayn, a riveting story of strength, strategy, and resilience. Picture this. It's 630 CE and the Muslims have just conquered Mecca. But the victory is short-lived as a coalition of tribes, primarily the Hawazin, refused to be swept up in the tide of Islam. The stage is thus set in the rugged terrain of the Hunayn Valley, near Mecca. The odds? Not in favor of the Muslims, as they are significantly outnumbered, but what they lack in numbers they make up for in courage and resolve. The stakes are high, the tension palpable. The Muslims stand tall, ready to face the coalition with none other than the Prophet Muhammad leading their ranks. This isn't just a battle, it's a decisive moment in the early Muslim conquests in the Arabian Peninsula, a moment that would test the mettle of the Muslims and shape the course of history. So how did this battle unfold? Let's dive into the details. Picture this. The Hunayn Valley near Mecca, a rugged terrain, the perfect setting for a battle. This was the stage for the Battle of Hunayn, a critical juncture in the early Muslim conquests. Now imagine a coalition force amassing in this valley, the Hawazin tribe and their allies all united with a common goal. A formidable force indeed, with a numerical advantage that would make any adversary think twice. Yet this did not deter the Muslims led by Prophet Muhammad. They were up against a sudden attack, a surprise assault that initially left them scrambling amidst the rocky landscape. The terrain, with its craggy outcrops and uneven ground, was as much a challenge as the opposing force itself. The Muslims, however, were not to be easily defeated. They faced the initial difficulties head-on, their spirits unbroken even in the face of adversity. Their courage was palpable, their determination unwavering. They knew they had a battle to win and they were ready to give it their all. However, with strategic guidance and bravery, the Muslims weren't going to back down. Under the leadership of Prophet Muhammad and Khalid ibn al-Walid, the Muslims regrouped. The situation was dire, but there was a glimmer of hope. The Muslims were initially caught off guard by the sudden attack from the Hawazin coalition in the rugged terrain of the Hunayn Valley, but they didn't let this setback define them. They had a cause to fight for and a belief in their hearts that was unshakable. Prophet Muhammad, an emblem of wisdom and courage alongside Khalid ibn al-Walid, a brilliant military strategist, took charge of the situation. They were the beacon of hope in this sea of uncertainty. Under their guidance, the Muslims swiftly reorganized their ranks, ready to face the enemy once again. The tide of the battle began to shift. Their swords gleamed in the harsh sunlight, their shields held high, their determination unwavering. They were the embodiment of resilience, standing tall against a force that outnumbered them. The Muslims fought with a fervor that was awe-inspiring. With every swing of their swords, every launch of their spears, they fought not just for their survival, but for their faith. It was a testament to their unity, their bravery, and their unyielding spirit. But let's not forget the strategic genius that was Khalid ibn al-Walid. His tactical maneuvers on the battlefield were instrumental in turning the tide of the battle. His leadership, along with Prophet Muhammad's guidance, was a force to be reckoned with. The coalition forces, despite their numerical advantage, found themselves in a precarious position. They were up against a force that was not just physically strong, but also mentally resilient. Their initial surprise attack had been effective, but the tables were turning now. Every move the Muslims made, every strategy they employed was a step towards their victory, and eventually, their perseverance paid off. The coalition forces, unable to withstand the might of the Muslims, started to retreat. Despite the odds, the coalition forces were eventually routed, and the Muslims emerged victorious. This was more than just a military victory. It was a testament to the resilience, the courage, and the unity of the Muslims under the leadership of Prophet Muhammad and Khalid ibn al-Walid. Victory at Hunayn wasn't just a military success, it had far-reaching implications. The Battle of Hunayn, played out in the rugged terrain of the Hunayn Valley, was a game-changer in the early days of the Islamic conquest. It was a clash that showcased the resilience, strategic acumen, and military capability of the growing Muslim community. Now, let's take a moment to understand why this victory held such strategic importance. The Arabian Peninsula was a mosaic of tribes and alliances, and the Muslims, led by Prophet Muhammad, were the new players on the block. The Battle of Hunayn was a direct challenge to their claim to Mecca and their growing influence. Facing a coalition force primarily from the Hawazin tribe, the Muslims were initially taken aback. The suddenness of the attack and the challenging terrain initially put them on the back foot. But with the strategic guidance of Prophet Muhammad and Khalid ibn al-Walid, they regrouped. The tide of the battle turned and the Muslims emerged victorious. This victory was more than just a show of military strength. It was a statement that the Muslims were here to stay. The Battle of Hunayn consolidated Muslim control over the Arabian Peninsula, particularly around the region of Mecca. It cemented their standing and demonstrated their ability to withstand a larger coalition force. The aftermath of the Battle of Hunayn was a turning point that marked the resilience and the military prowess of the early Muslim community. It was a testament to their strategic leadership and the bravery of their soldiers. A victory that resonated far beyond the confines of the Hunayn Valley. But what happened to the spoils of war? Let's find out. After the dust settled, the Muslims found themselves in possession of significant spoils of war. The victory came with a bounty, not just in weapons and goods, but also in captives. The riches were vast, but the real wealth was in the strength these spoils brought to the Muslim community. Let's talk about the booty first. The Muslims found themselves in possession of an abundance of goods. These included livestock, weapons, and other items of value. This bounty was not just a symbol of their victory, but also a practical resource. It provided the community with the means to grow and strengthen both in terms of wealth and in their ability to defend themselves. Now let's move on to the captives. They were many, but the real story here is not in the numbers, but in how they were treated. Prophet Muhammad, the leader of the Muslim community, showed great mercy towards them. Among the captives was Shaima, who, touched by the Prophet's kindness, chose to convert to Islam. This act of mercy did not just win the hearts of captives, but also demonstrated the compassionate nature of the Muslim community. The spoils of war, both the booty and the captives, were taken to Jirana. Here they were distributed among the Muslim community. This distribution was not just an act of sharing the bounty, but it also served as a way to strengthen the bonds within the community. The spoils of war, therefore, played a significant role in the development and consolidation of the Muslim community. And so the Battle of Hunayn was not just about a military victory. It was a pivotal moment in the early Muslim conquests. It marked a point in history where the Muslim community grew in strength and unity, bolstered by the spoils of war and guided by the benevolent leadership of Prophet Muhammad. Thus, the Battle of Hunayn marked a pivotal moment in the early Muslim conquests. So, that's the story of the Battle of Hunayn, a day that changed the course of history. To quickly recap, this pivotal battle unfolded back in 630 CE in the Valley of Hunayn, right after the conquest of Mecca. The Muslim army, under the leadership of Prophet Muhammad, faced a sudden attack from a larger coalition force of the Hawazin tribe and their allies. Despite the initial setbacks, the Muslims regrouped and, with strategic guidance and bravery, turned the tide of the battle in their favor. The Muslims' victory was a crucial event that consolidated their control over the Arabian Peninsula, particularly the region surrounding Mecca. Moreover, the spoils of war, including captives and booty, significantly contributed to the wealth and strength of the Muslim community. It's always fascinating to look back at these historical events, isn't it? Thanks for joining us on this journey back in time. Until next time, keep exploring history.